Jinho anxiously waiting for Jinu at their usual cafe. His mind races as he contemplates the significance of the impending conversation. Jinho knows that Jinu's decision will greatly impact his future and possibly his aspirations within the Yujin Guild. He sits there, reminding himself of the reasons behind his actions, trying to muster the courage for the critical discussion. As the door to the cafe opens, Jinu walks in, his clothes slightly ripped and torn. It's evident he has come straight from a dungeon. Jinho's eyes widen in admiration and concern as he sees Jinu in this state. He can't help but think about how incredible Jinu is for continually pushing himself to train in dungeons despite already being so powerful. Jinho seizes the moment to explain everything to Jinu. He begins by detailing his negotiations with his father, hoping to gain his support for becoming the master of the Yujin Guild. However, during these negotiations, Go Myung-hwan appeared and shared the harrowing details of what transpired inside the Red Gate. He told Jinho's father about how Jinu bravely rescued the White Tiger Guild hunters, painting a vivid picture of Jinu's heroism and capability. Jinho admits that to achieve his goal of leading the Yujin Guild, he desperately needs Jinu's help. In a bid to convince him, Jinho offers Jinu complete decision-making power within the guild, emphasizing that Jinu should not feel pressured or obligated. Jinu's response hung heavy in the air as Jinho waited for his answer. The room seemed to grow still, the weight of the unspoken words pressing down on them both. Jinho's eyes, wide with anticipation, flickered with a mix of hope and apprehension. The scene shifts to the Hunters Guild. Inside the guild, Choi Jong-in is in shock upon learning that Sung Ji-nu had joined one of their recent raids. He finds it hard to believe that Ji-nu was on the mining team one day and carrying the strike squad's bags the next. Mr. Sun, an employee of the Hunters Guild, explains that while Ji-nu had no intention of interfering with their raid, the situation escalated when they encountered an unexpectedly strong boss. Ji-nu saw no choice but to step in and assist. Choi Jong-in reflects on the implications of Jinu's actions. He realizes that both the White Tiger Guild and the Hunters Guild are now indebted to Jinu. He is amazed by the abilities Jinu has revealed so far, such as summoning multiple beasts, possessing agility akin to an assassin-type hunter, and the power to turn deceased beasts into his soldiers. Choi Jong-in wonders if Jinu has even more hidden abilities. He questions Mr. Sun about Jinu's strength compared to his own. Mr. Sun acknowledges that while each member of a raid team has specific roles that complement each other, Jinu stands out as extraordinary. He points out that Jinu is capable of clearing an A-rank dungeon by himself, a feat even Choi Jong-in admits he cannot achieve alone. Mr. Sun strongly advises Choi Jong-in to recruit Jinu at all costs, recognizing the immense potential and value Jinu would bring to their guild. Meanwhile, outside the Hunters Association building, where a crowd of reporters eagerly awaits Lee Min-sung. Min-sung is there for his rank evaluation, and he is relishing the publicity. He observes the large turnout and imagines tomorrow's newspaper headlines glorifying his rise to superhuman status. However, the reporters' excitement shifts when Bacon Ho and Choi Jong-in arrive at the scene. The reporters initially assume that the two guild masters are there to recruit Min-sung. Bacon Ho quickly dispels this notion, expressing frustration with the reporters and clarifying that he is not there for Min-sung. Choi Jong-in further explains that Min-sung has already signed with the Fiend Guild, a fact well known among industry insiders. Bacon Ho and Choi Jong-in then turn their attention to discussing their recent reliance on Sung Ji-nu's assistance. Bacon Ho mentions the casualties their guild suffered and their need to bolster their forces with someone as powerful as Ji-nu. Choi Jong-in argues about the ethical responsibility they have to recruit Ji-nu after he saved their team. Their conversation is interrupted by Lim Tae-gyu, the master of the Fiend Guild, who jokes about the two guild masters bickering over Min-sung. Both Bacon Ho and Choi Jong-in express their frustration, clarifying that their focus is not on Min-sung but on more pressing matters. Meanwhile, Min-sung, sitting in his car and observing from a distance, is pleased with the attention he is receiving. He feels like a star, surrounded by reporters eager to capture his every move. As he steps out of the car, the reporters clamor to take his photos, making him the center of attention. Amidst the commotion, Jinu stands far behind the reporters, utterly confused by the large crowd and the spectacle unfolding before him. Jinu, confused by the throng of reporters outside the Hunters Association building, realized the media frenzy wasn't wasn't for him. He approached the entrance, needing to get inside for his appointment. Ignoring the flashing cameras and shouts for attention, he attempted to enter. A secretary of Lee Min-sung, noticing Jinwoo trying to pass through, challenges him, questioning his identity and affiliation with the association. Jinwoo explains that he has an appointment, but the secretary insists that the entrance is currently blocked off, instructing him to leave. Min-sung, observing from a distance, derides Jinwoo, hoping security will eject him. Suddenly, the situation took an unexpected turn. Go Gun-hee, the esteemed chairman of the Hunters Association, arrived. Go Gun-hee declares that Jinwoo is his guest and reminds Min-sung of who allowed him to hold a press conference there. Min-sung, taken aback, acknowledges Go Gun-hee's authority. The chairman then escorts Jinwoo inside the building, leaving Min-sung and the reporters bewildered. As Go Gun-hee escorted Jinwoo inside, reporters were puzzled and curious about Jinwoo's identity, wondering why the chairman was personally walking him into the building. Feeling overshadowed by this unexpected guest, Min-sung demanded to know who Jinwoo was and how he dared to steal his attention. Determined to reclaim the spotlight, Min-sung announced he would begin his evaluation early. However, his attempt to bypass the queue backfired spectacularly. When he was about to enter, Jim-chul, the stoic and powerful hunter himself, denied him entry. Apparently, another hunter's evaluation was already in progress, and no one was allowed in until it was finished. Min-sung, outraged by the wait and convinced it was because of Jinwoo, launched into a tirade. He argued his importance as a celebrity, even threatening Jim-chul with his connections and sponsorship from Eugen Guild, where his father was a vice president. Unfazed by Min-sung's arrogance, Jim-chul remained firm. The evaluation process had to be followed, and Min-sung would have to wait his turn, no matter his perceived fame or fortune. Jim-chul warned him of severe consequences if he tries to enter forcefully. Inside, Go Gun-hee walked alongside Jinwoo, who was greeted by Baek Ho and Choi Jong-in, both bowing respectfully to the chairman. Gun-hee mentioned that the two had been eagerly waiting for Jinwoo, especially after witnessing his strength, and were likely hoping to recruit him into their guild. The evaluation began. When questioned about his abilities, Jinwoo, ever practical, simply summoned a shadow soldier. The manifestation of dark energy coalescing into a fearsome warrior left Go Gun-hee and the association employee speechless. Go Gun-hee, sensing Jinwoo possessed even more, pressed further. Hesitantly admitting many had already seen him in action, Jinwoo proceeded to unleash his full arsenal. Shadow soldiers materialized one by one: the imposing Igris, the hulking Iron, the chilling Ice Bear, and the ferocious Tusk. The room erupted in awe. Everyone present, including Go Gun-hee, was stunned by the sheer number and variety of powerful creatures Jinwoo could summon. To further solidify his extraordinary power, Jinwoo revealed his capability to summon 100 more shadow soldiers, a number that sent shivers down everyone's spines. This undeniable display left no room for doubt. Jinwoo was a force to be reckoned with. Finally, the moment Jinwoo had been striving for arrived. He received his official S-rank hunter license, a symbol of his immense power and hard-earned achievement. Baek Ho, witnessing Jinwoo's power, is overwhelmed, acknowledging the stark difference in Jinwoo's strength since their last encounter. He attempts to engage Jinwoo further, but Jinwoo, eager to leave, excuses himself, mentioning unfinished business. Baek warns Jinwoo about exiting through the front, hinting at potential regret. Jinwoo thought that they are about to make a lucrative offer. Ignoring the warning, Jinwoo exited the building, ready to face whatever challenges awaited him, but he was met with a completely unexpected situation. A swarm of reporters, alerted by the news of a new S-rank hunter, ambushed him. Cameras flashed, questions buzzed, and Jinwoo, utterly shocked by the sudden media attention, realized the secret of his identity and newfound power was already out. The unassuming hunter had become a national sensation, the 10th strongest hunter in all of Korea. 10 minutes earlier, Lee Min-sung was confidently addressing the press. He declared that even if he ended up with a low rank, he would still fight against magical beasts to repay his fans for their love and support. He promised to be a hunter who serves the people, regardless of his rank. The reporters were astonished and asked if he was truly retiring as Asia's biggest star to become a hunter, even if he received a low rank. Min-sung affirmed this, asking for everyone's attention and announcing his retirement. In reality, Min-sung had already been evaluated and received achieved an A rank. He planned to be paid millions over 2 years to promote the Fiend Guild, using this as a way to divert attention from his mandatory military service. Min Sung believed his story would be convincing, showing him as someone who gave up fame and fortune to protect his country. He thanked Mr. Lim Taegyu, the master of the Fiend Guild, for inviting him to join. As Min Sung basked in the limelight, a seismic shift occurred. News broke about the emergence of a new S-rank hunter. The media's focus abruptly shifted, leaving Min Sung bewildered. The identity of the mysterious hunter was revealed: Sung Ji-nu. They were shocked by the revelation of South Korea's 10th S-rank hunter and quickly spread the news. The association's website had been updated, confirming Ji-nu's new status. The reporters realized that the evaluation center had been closed, not for Min Sung, but for the S-rank hunter evaluation. Hearing the murmurs about the new S-rank hunter, Min Sung was baffled and frustrated. The reporters rushed towards the Hunter Association building entrance, demanding to be let in and learn more about the new S-rank hunter. The realization dawned on Min Sung that his carefully planned spotlight had been stolen. The S-rank hunter, a complete unknown, had eclipsed his well-constructed narrative. Min Sung watches in disbelief as the spotlight turned away from him. Meanwhile, the news of Ji-nu's achievements spread like wildfire. From the depths of the mines to the highest echelons of society, everyone was buzzing about the extraordinary feat. It was being broadcast on every news channel. Even Ji-nu's younger sister, Gina, was aware of her brother's newfound fame. At the Yujin Guild, Jinho was engaged in a conversation with his father, Myung-han. Myung-han, watching the news, learned about Ji-nu's official status as an S-rank mage-type hunter and asked Jinho if he had managed to recruit him. Jinho apologized, explaining that Ji-nu planned to form his own guild and had invited Jinho to join as the vice guild master. The revelation of Ji-nu's plan shocks Myung-han. He begins to explain to Jinho the true reason behind his desire to create the Yujin Guild. Contrary to what one might think, it is not because the hunting business is profitable. Myung-han already has enough wealth to last multiple lifetimes. He questions if Jinho believes he would risk getting into conflicts with major guilds just to make more money. Jinho asks then why he wants to create the guild. Myung-han explains that it is for protection. Hunters are growing stronger by the day, and it is no longer surprising to come across hunters whose strength rivals the combined armed forces of a country. These individuals are known as national-level hunters, surpassing S ranks and considered the most powerful hunters in the world. In some smaller countries, these hunters rule like kings. Myung-han emphasizes that relying solely on the legal system and the government for protection is no longer feasible. He wants to create a guild to recruit trustworthy hunters, not for money or connections, but to find individuals he can truly trust and depend on. Myung-han acknowledges that Jinho seems to have already found such a hunter in Ji-nu and gives his approval for Jinho to lead the Yujin Guild. However, Jinho shocks his father by declining the offer. He reveals that he has decided to join Ji-nu's guild instead. Outside the Hunter Association building, Ji-nu was puzzled by the crowd of reporters in front of him. He wondered why they weren't focused on Lee Min-sung. The reporters bombarded him with questions about his reawakening and how he felt. Baek and-ho suggested to Ji-nu that dealing with the reporters would be draining and offered to take him home. In a blur of motion, Ji-nu vanished from the site, leaving everyone awestruck by his speed. They couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. Choi Jong-in remarked that Ji-nu, a mage-type hunter, also had excellent athletic abilities. Baek and Ho agreed, noting how fast Ji-nu was, so fast that even his eyes couldn't keep up. He already knew Ji-nu was strong, but this wasn't just about strength. The way Ji-nu moved was extraordinary. Baek could feel the intense levels of Ji-nu's mana when they met in front of the evaluation room. Ji-nu had become much stronger since the last time Baek saw him. He was sure that the current Sung Ji-nu was more powerful than they were. Choi Jong-in pondered how Ji-nu's reawakening must have happened a while ago, wondering how he had become so much stronger. It didn't make sense to him. Baek and Ho speculated that perhaps Ji-nu wasn't just reawakened, he might be a hunter who could keep leveling up continuously. This idea opened up the possibility that Ji-nu's abilities were not fixed but could evolve over time, explaining his unexpected increase in power. The news of Ji-nu's emergence as an S-rank hunter was plastered all over the television, capturing everyone's attention. It was a significant event, marking the first appearance of an S-rank hunter in 2 years. Meanwhile, Hwang Dong-soo, who had been severely injured in a battle with Sung Il-hwan, was slowly recovering in the hospital. His recovery had been long and grueling, and he had spent a considerable amount of time in his hospital bed, reflecting on the past events. When he finally woke up, his thoughts were immediately consumed with anger and disbelief. disbelief. The realization that Sung Jinwoo was still alive filled him with rage. He could hardly stand the idea that Jinwoo, whom he despised, had survived and was now receiving widespread attention and acclaim.